It is straight up 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzika. Doctors from UC Medical Center are speaking to media right now about the condition of Bills safety Damar Hamlin, and it is more encouraging news that Hamlin has shown substantial improvement in the last 24 hours. He has movement in his hands and his feet and appears to be intact neurologically. So more encouraging news about Bills safety Damar Hamlin. Meanwhile, the NFL trying to figure out its scheduling and whether or not they are going to resume the Bills and Bengals game that was suspended on Monday night. Adam Schefter reporting that he does not believe that game will be played, and there are several options on the table for the remainder of the NFL regular season and how the postseason seeding will be determined, including making the Bills-Bengals game a tie or potentially expanding the playoff to 8 teams in the AFC and NFC. Those are just some of the options on the table as the Tennessee Titans get ready to travel to Jacksonville on Saturday for that regular season finale AFC South winner-take-all matchup against the Jags. Mike Vrabel will let us know in moments who will be out on Saturday. Traylon Burks, wide receiver with a groin injury, did not practice today, according to Jim Wyatt. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Man, let's start with, this is just the best news ever. You heard, gosh, man, this is, whoo. Damar Hamlin, Bill's safety, Damar Hamlin, who we've just all been tied up in knots about now for the last couple of days. There are 2 doctors who are just filibustering on TV right now, saying things about how he's doing from the UC Medical Center in Cincinnati. Substantial improvement over the past 24 hours. They're saying showing signs of being neurologically intact, meaning that somebody can move extremities with a form of purpose. They're able to understand commands. This has come out. They're saying he gripped the hands of family members, Blaine, at his hospital bedside.
Awesome. Also, he wrote that who won the game, right?
Yes, they were talking,
which is pretty cool.
He still has his breathing tube in. They're still assisting him with breathing, but they said he can't speak. But they said he could write things down. He wrote who won the game. Yes.
Yeah. So
that shows you he's
awesome news, there, man.
And then what was their response, Mickey?
You won at the game of life is what they told him.
Oh, wow.
Said you won, Damar.
You won.
Yeah.
Oh
man.
my gosh.
Oh wow. That is awesome. Man, all those prayers out there and helped out a lot, and the first responders and everybody involved there at the game at that moment in time, critical time, pressed for time, and they got it done. They are the true heroes in this situation.
Yep.
And as well as Hamlin in his fight to be back with us. So that's cool. Great.
This is just, we were talking to Buck on the way out. Chasing M's Foundation Community Toy Drive. That's the name of his GoFundMe. It had a goal of $2,500. You guys know where it is now?
Well, I know a couple of days ago it was at $4 million. So where's it at today?
Is it close? I bet it's like around 10. Is it, or am I overshooting?
7.2 million.
Wow.
And literally, if you look at a GoFundMe, it just has donors' names. It says Jim Irsay and the Colts, $25,003. People have added 3 at the end of things for his number.
Oh,
but that's the first.
cool.
That's just listed under there next to a lady named Kristen Aberg and an anonymous donor who gave $30. In the middle is Jim Irsay and the Colts with $25,003. $7.28 million now for this young man's foundation.
How about that?
So, boy, well, we've been waiting for that thumbs up from him. So
I think this qualifies as a thumbs up. Yeah, I would say so. I think this is what everybody was waiting for, to feel relieved to a certain extent. It's not over, but, man, it's definitely going down the right path, and we all have to be thankful where he's at right now. So, man, tip of the cap for his fight, and all the first responders and the doctors, doing all the great things that they do. Man, that's pretty incredible. I wish I was smart enough to be a doctor. Yeah, maybe if I was Lucas, I could be that smart.
I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. I'm just smart enough to date a doctor.
I was going to say, somebody has a doctor
I think we're
in there.
kind of in the same boat. Mine's not quite a doctor, but yeah. So that makes me feel like I'm kind of smart though. at least made a good decision on that.
Honestly, I mean, this just feels like
that is incredible. They are the heroes, man. And Mickey is funny, man. I wish people could. I mean, they can see you, but how heartfelt you've been this whole time, not just today, but all the time. Like almost like I feel like you're a relative of his. Because you been like, I can't get any sleep. And I'm like, why you can't get any sleep? Like, oh man, I did the Hamlin stuff is just, yeah, that first night, I have to admit, I was somewhat that way myself. But time went on, I was like, okay, I'm praying for him, but it's it's in the man upstairs' hands now, and the doctors. And so, yeah, but that shows you, who we are as people a little bit too. That. Maybe you're a little more worrywart than I am. I mean, you're worried about weather 7 days down the road, and I'm trying to figure out the weather today. So
I watch it for both of us.
Yeah. So I depend on you. So, yeah. So I feel relieved that you feel relieved that he is on a way of recovery, man. So that's pretty cool. But naturally, on to the NFL and the Titans and how they're going to do the scheduling and everything else with this Bengals, Buffalo Bills. I think we can talk about that now and what they're kind of speculating that may happen as far as the ruling on if it's a tie or, if they play at, 8 teams or whatever extra teams on AFC, NFC side. And will there be a bye for all teams? Or, some of the, number one seeds are not at all. So, man, that's a big time, high level stuff there, and that seems like that's in the Mickey area, Mickey Lucas area.
What is the latest on that? At one point, they were talking about just using percentage points, like winning percentage points to determine.
No, they're talking about if it's a tie, and then
there's a few options on the table.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing that is clear is this game's probably not getting played.
Yeah,
Bengals.
No, I never thought it would. Yeah,
they're not going to resume this game, and so. Schefter is out there. Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, is out there. But the main issue is to what to do with AFC seeding. But there's a possibility of just calling this game a tie, which logistically would make things easier, I think, this week. There's also the possibility of expanding the playoff to 8 teams per conference. Mike Florio has been out there with that. So, but there would still be hoops to jump through as far as determining seeding.
That means there would be no bye if it's
right, and there would be no bye.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So being a number one seed now, I thought there also was an option if you can determine if it's a tie, if you want home field advantage or seeding. What was the option? I think it was home field advantage and something else.
Well, I'll just let Adam Schefter tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't think an educated guess that they're going to wind up replaying that Bills-Bengals game from Monday night. As somebody said to me this past week, the game is bad mojo. It's time to leave it behind, move forward, not back. And I don't believe the league, under most circumstances, is going to wind up replaying that game. Now we get into the fact, okay, well, how does the league handle this? And there are many ideas that the league is kicking around, and they now can go into overdrive knowing that doctors feel encouraged about Damar Hamlin and where he's at in his recovery a few days after the tragic circumstances of Monday night. So when we go inside headquarters at Park Avenue in New York City, let me present a couple of scenarios that I think are under consideration and discussion, and I think they're a little bit different than a lot of people would have thought. One of them comes compliments of our Matthew Hasselbeck, and I want to credit him who came up with this idea, and I'm going to read it to you because he texted it to me yesterday, and I know the league has thought about this one. He said, you call the Bengals-Bills a tie. The number one seed gets the choice of home field throughout the playoffs or the bye. The number 2 seed gets whatever isn't chosen. So either a bye or home field advantage. That would be one scenario that I believe the league has talked about. The other one that I think might be even more viable and more discussed and might be the one that the league enacts before Saturday's game is this. If there is an AFC championship game in the end that involves teams that don't have the same amount of games played, where Monday night's non-result factors into who gets home field advantage, here's what I think the league would do. I think the league would say, we're not going to have any home field advantage this year. We're going to play the conference championship game on a neutral site. And so if it involves Kansas City or Buffalo or Cincinnati,
What happened? You had me right on the edge of my seat there,
Wait,
Lucas.
what?
You do that on purpose?
It cuts off there. I apologize.
Just really enthralled in that. And he just,
man.
like when a caller hangs up on themselves.
Oh, man, you had me like, what's going to happen? Oh, what do you think he was going to say there, Mickey? Good Lord, I have no closure. Oh, man, that was a glitch in the computer system.
Boy, 99 problems. A glitch is one. Yeah, we don't have the resolution on that.
So it's going to be at a neutral site if it's one of those three teams. Naturally, and I would think, I think those teams have a great shot of being in the AFC Championship. So, wow, where would that neutral site? I would hope it would be indoors. Because if it went to Buffalo, then I think that was huge because I think they would choose home field advantage just because of the weather, and nobody wants to go play in that.
No way.
That's really neat. And Hasselbeck, having some opinions there, that was a great idea, really, and the league is probably considering it as well.
At one point, Florio, the Pro Football Talk guy, was saying, I think it was him, and I don't know if it was his idea or if I just saw that he was regurgitating in it, for lack of a better word. Just move everything back a week, let them play.
Because you have the week in between the Super Bowl.
And you could just – but there's so much that's – I don't think you could knock down that many dominoes.
But they were saying if they didn't cancel the game and did the game anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, that's not part of the equation. I don't think now.
Man, multi-billion-dollar business, a lot of moving parts and pieces. This will be fascinating what they decide to do.
Man, if it's at a neutral site, man. So how does that work as far as who gets paid? Who's paying for that?
But think about this though: if the Titans, I don't know, got on a roll, or if this had been in a year where
got hot,
where you got hot and you made it, and you had like if they last year would have been the year. Let's say they make it all the way championship, give home field advantage, and it's like, well, remember when those two teams didn't play? You guys are going to have to play this in Jerry World.
Yeah, I'd be a little perturbed.
Yep.
You say, well, why did we do the seeding then?
Right.
It meant nothing. Well, we don't really know who's number one.
And then how neutral do you make it? How far do you try to put it right between the two cities that make it?
It never works out that way, right?
Yeah. Or
well, yeah, I'm sure Jerry would just volunteer to have his.
he
stadium.
would. Jerry Stadium is always ready
Get
for
a front row seat, right?
for whatever it needs to. All right, we were juggling some guests behind the scenes. So who do we have next, Lucas?
Matt Hayes of 1010XL in Jacksonville will join us next.
Okay, we will get that. Are we going to give the injury news now, or do you want to give it on the other side before we get Matt?
Let's give it on the other side.
All right. You want to know who Mike Vrabel has ruled out? You got to come back.
Or who he has ruled in.
Oh, bum, bum, bum. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Matt Hayes should be joining us here in just a minute. He's with 1010XL and Saturday Down South. He covers the NFL and the SEC. He's living right.
2-1, man.
Yeah.
But you got some updates on practice for the Titans.
This is who didn't practice. Big Jeff, Traylon Burks. He got added to the report yesterday. Traylon Burks with a groin. Amani Hooker, Nicholas Petit-Frere, and Devontae Harris. That was just who didn't practice. So Jim Wyatt put that out, as did all the guys who get to go to practice because it's during the same time just about every day. So then Mike Vrabel comes over and he talks. He only ruled out one person for the game. Devontae Harris, not Traylon Burks. Here is the quote from Teresa Walker. The Titans held Traylon Burks out, but Vrabel says he should be okay. He ruled out only one, Devontae Harris.
Okay. Well, good. So, hands on deck on defense. Woo, Autry, Big Jeff, Hooker, Fulton. No mention of Fulton, so that's even better. Burks. We got everybody. Oh, man. So there's nothing that you can say excuse as far as we got as good as we can get at this point in time.
Good as they can get on defense, that's for sure. I think we've got Matt Hayes who joins us now. He covers the Jags in Jacksonville for 1010XL Radio, and he writes for Saturday Down South. Matt, thanks for being able to jump in with us today. So we were just reading the Titans injury report. A little bit of scare yesterday with Traylon Burks, but Mike Vrabel says he will go Saturday night. Not good news for Jags fans, but nice news here.
Yeah, you know what? You guys want to hear some news?
Uh-oh.
You really want some news?
We do. We want some great
Trevor
news.
Lawrence's toe is broken.
Oh, yeah. But he's still playing, but he's still playing.
Here's the news. The mayor of Jacksonville has asked everyone in this city to wear teal tomorrow.
Oh, my.
Teal out. It's teal out in the city of Jacks, boys.
Teal out.
That's what it is, huh?
Teal out. Teal out.
Look, you guys have been playoffs all the time.
Oh, my.
Championship game. Like, you guys are used to all this.
Oh, woe is you guys.
You got to let these guys experience it a little bit. You got to let the city experience it, kind of like, understand it and have fun with it. And, yeah, I'm telling you guys right now, honestly, this place is nuts.
So it's about to get
nuts.
lit up in there, man. It's going to be loud.
And if the Titans win that game Saturday night, I mean, it's going to be a long, cold offseason, man. Whoa.
By cold, like 72 degrees down there.
Yeah. Well, I'll make sure I bring my cowbell. Digga all day.
You mentioned the mayor. This doesn't have anything to do with the game on Saturday night. But one interesting side note to the Jags, we're trying to build a new stadium up here. That's, well, not we, but the Titans are trying to build a $2 billion stadium.
Yeah, we are.
The Jags are trying to do $1 billion in improvements to their stadium. Is that right?
Huh?
I mean, lipstick on a pig, man.
Oh, my.
But I mean, that's kind of what it's going to be, just like what the Dolphins did with their stadium. They're going to put a roof on it, and they'll upgrade the concourses, and the suites will be upgraded, and the things that you typically will see with stuff like that. They're going to cut down the capacity from 65 to 60. So it's I mean, living in this city, me personally, I would rather see them just tear the thing down and start over. But they're not going to do that. That's a $2 billion investment, like you guys are looking at. And I don't know that the franchise is in for however much money they would like the franchise to be in for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about the other real estate area? I thought they were considering doing. Are they still doing that or no?
They're gonna do
part
some stuff with some hotels and some shops and stuff. The easiest thing for them to do, honestly, is to do exactly what Atlanta did with the Georgia Dome. You just build it right there, right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
You build it while you're playing in the other one. You build it, and then when it comes to the point where it's time to tear the other one down, you put the big sheet up like Atlanta did. You tear it down. You move on in the off season. You finish it in the off season. But that's a $2.5 billion proposal probably. So I don't see that happening. I mean, honestly, guys, even to get the $1 billion thing passed here will be like literally pulling teeth of every single person in the city council.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Hayes, our guest, 1010XL Radio in Jacksonville.
Well, Matt, you kind of mentioned
you guys know how it is.
Yes.
How difficult will it be for you guys to get that passed through? $2 billion.
Oh, yeah. We're using Mickey's money, so it'll be real easy. It'll be real easy. It'll be easy. Easy. It's just like, ring the cowbell. But, yes, you mentioned this. It's going to be loud. It's going to be ruckus. Is this going to be the biggest game in Jags history since the 2000 AFC Championship game?
As far as home game?
Yes, home game. I'm sorry for you guys.
Maybe the biggest home game since I think, honestly, the year after the AFC Championship game season, in 2018, they played the Patriots here, and it was wild, and they beat the hell out of the Patriots in that game too.
Oh,
and then, of course, after that, it started like a complete downhill collapse for the next 4 years. So I think probably since then, if not prior to that, maybe the Bills playoff game that was here in 2017.
Yeah.
It's big. It's big, man. I'm telling you. It's big because if you really think about this franchise, it's amazing when you think about it. You're talking about a franchise that back-to-back number one overall picks in the NFL draft, which means you were the worst team in the league back-to-back years. They survived Urban Meyer, which is a colossal, just an absolute colossal thing to do in and of itself, considering what was going on there. They get a guy in who completely changes the way they think about playing football, and Doug Peterson, and all of a sudden these free agent signings that, a year earlier were getting the GM, Trent Baalke. They had this big clown thing that, social media, they were calling Baalke the clown. He had to be fired, and now all of a sudden he's a genius because now these free agents from years past, from 2 years ago, now are really playing well. And the free agents they just picked up this past year are really playing well. Mm-hmm. So you've got a legit, probably 11 or 12 free agents from the last 2 years that are impacting this team in a significant way. Then, of course, you've got the ultimate. You've got Trevor Lawrence, who now is playing at a level among the best quarterbacks in the game. And when you have that and you've got a young team that doesn't know any better, that's a dangerous team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they don't know what they don't know being a young team. Has there been any conversations, Matt, with the Jags having a short week and the Titans having a longer week to prepare for each other?
Honestly, Blaine, I think it's more the fans than the players. Players don't care. Uh-huh. You know that as a player. Who cares, man? Just play. Get me on the field. Let's go play. The fans were upset initially, and then, I think they've kind of figured it out. All right, whatever. It's just one more day. And it also means if you win, you might have a chance to get an extra day for the playoff next week. So, yeah, the fans were definitely upset. The players they could care less. They literally, they're so hot right now, Blaine, the way they're playing. They just want to play the next game, man. Let's just get to the next game.
Well, the remnants of last year led into this season. What has been the turnaround after the slow start to really this entire season? Kind of put it in a capsule of what's been the biggest things that they've turned around besides the coach.
Honestly, Blaine, I think if anyone really knew, if you could point your finger at it, it's something that everybody then all of a sudden here's the plan, here's how you do it. I think it's just a lot of stuff. I think it's the guys they picked up in free agents. I think were good players. I think Etienne started to get more comfortable in his role. He started to play better. They started to block on the offensive line better. I think the defense started to play better. They were terrible early in the season. And now they're 12th in the league in scoring defense, which I can't even imagine.
Wow. Because,
look, sometimes you get too close to it when you followed a team the entire year. To me, this defense has got holes all over it. But to anyone else watching this team, they're seeing them in the last 7 weeks and how they've played and how they're active, and they're all around the ball. And, the 12th in the league in scoring defense, and everybody else is saying, wow, that's a pretty good defense. See, I see it differently. So sometimes I think I'm too close to it because I see it week by week by week, and you don't really see the huge strides they have made in the last 7 weeks. And I think a lot of it is obviously Trevor Lawrence. He's really playing well. The receivers and the free agents that they picked up, Christian Kirk's having a fantastic season. Zay Jones is having a fantastic season. Evan Ingram, who just killed the Titans the last time they played, is having a fantastic season. Those are three free agents that they picked up that have helped Trevor Lawrence's growth and maturity just immeasurably over the last 7-8 weeks.
We're on with Matt Hayes from 1010 XL in Jacksonville.
Matt, it's always well documented how unhealthy the Titans are. They've played 86 guys. They've got 22 guys on injured reserve. They rested a bunch of dudes against Dallas last week. What's the overall health of this Jags team?
Honestly, Mickey, living almost nearly perfect.
Wow.
I mean, you don't have Cam Robinson, your left tackle.
Yeah.
You don't have Cam Robinson, which is your left tackle, and that's a problem. I mean, they like Walker Little, the young guy, the second-year guy from Stanford, who they initially drafted to be their left tackle, and then Cam played well, and they re-signed Cam, who's probably going to be their right tackle next year. So they like him. They like the way he's playing. But other than that, I mean, maybe Fadu Kasi's a little dinged up, but he's going to play. I mean, everybody, Blaine knows this, everybody at this point in the season, you're hurt, but you're playing. Mm-hmm. But as far as specific guys that are out, no, they're not expecting anything, man. They're rolling. They're rolling right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned, and anybody in the AFC South can see that the Jags at the quarterback position seem to be head and shoulders above everybody else. But how about this? The Titans are giving a guy a second start who's been here 2 weeks. Josh Dobbs, again, part 2. How about that? He's been here like 15 days.
He was with the Jags, wasn't he?
A couple of years ago.
He was with the Jags for a few weeks, yeah. Yeah, he was. When they were just had no idea what they were. Well, I mean, every year prior to this year, it's no idea what they're doing. But yeah, they had, they haven't figured out this position forever. You guys know that, and now they have. And it's because they were the worst team in the league. And you go back to that, and it's you can thank Frank Gore, who caught that third down pass for the Jets that won the Jets that game and put the Jags in position to have the number 1 overall pick. And it's just it's honestly, it's crazy. I think this city is so crazy and so hyped for this game because literally a month and a half, 2 months ago, they were like, I don't think this team's going to win again. Honestly, guys, when they were 2-6 and even 3-7, when they got crushed by the Lions, we were fielding calls on our show like, this team's not going to win again. They're going to go 3-14. They're going to be in the top 2 or 3 picks in the draft, and they're going to blow the draft again. Mm-hmm. Like they're calling Trayvon Walker a blown pick, and it's what fans do because they're just upset. Yeah. And then it just started to click and it started to roll. And I think that really more than anything is why this place is so lit right now. I think it's a fun run that they've waited for so long. And part of it is I can't believe this is happening. We still get guys, and I know you guys have a text line too. We still get people, texting in the text line saying they're going to blow it. I know they're going to blow it, or this can't be right. There's no way they're going to win this game. Yeah. There's no way Derrick Henry's not going to go for 200 on them, and they're going to lose this game. So there's still people like that out there.
Well, as soon as Derrick Henry gets off the bus, they're just going to put 11 people in the box because I'm sure that's everybody's focus every week, and it will be again this week. Matt Hayes focusing some time with us. He's at Matt Hayes CFB on Twitter, 1010XL Radio, and Saturday Down South.
Well, since we're talking about running backs and Henry, I have to say I'm really surprised and a little disappointed that yours truly there for the Jaguars, Fred Taylor, not only didn't make the finalist list for the Hall of Fame, but he should be in the Hall of Fame. He was the best running back I had faced in pretty much my entire career. Marshall Faulk was up there, but he brought a whole different level of physicality with his speed, and it was nothing that he wasn't good at. So I'm really stunned and shocked. I know he pretty much doesn't care too much. He's still mad at me from 2000. But, I mean, what are you guys saying about Fred Taylor as far as him? I think Fred Taylor as well as Jimmy Smith. It was the way we game planned to play you guys, we had to address those two guys. If not, we had no shot of winning. And when you start game planning to try to double and triple team guys, then that's the kind of impact they have out there. And that tells me Hall of Fame all day.
Yeah, I agree, Blaine. I mean, and a couple things. Obviously, Freddie and Jimmy, I think, are both worthy. Freddie specifically because he's in the spot to be named a finalist. I mean, this. The game was different back then. The game was about you got to run the ball, and we always talk about this all the time. The Jags touchdown, for so long, the team record for touchdowns was 20 by Brunell. So it was a run team that could also throw the ball. They were very balanced, but they were a run-based team. It was Freddie. And I also think this too is Fred's in a situation right now where Tony Baselli was, where he was like, it was the Jags, and you're not sure about the Jags as a franchise, and Fred has a different from Tony because Tony only played 7 years, whereas Fred is in a different situation. But this is one thing I wanted to ask you, Blaine, and we've talked about this on our show many times. I actually think I'm okay with the media voting for the Hall of Fame. I think there should be like a 4 or 5 player committee that after or right before they vote, the committee goes up there on the dais at the table, and they start getting questions from all the voters. What about this guy? What about that guy? What about this guy? because I think players deserve like an input into this decision. Yeah. Because you guys played against these guys. Uh-huh. Like you could stand up and say, Fred Taylor, are you kidding me? He's got to be in the league. Well, this is why. Blah, blah, blah. He's got to be in the Hall. So what do you think about that?
I really love that idea, and just, to have somewhat of a voice or questions, to the committee, to make sure they're getting it right. And we could say they always get it right, but there's also some guys that are not, getting it right as far as the players that should be getting in. And when they're elite players and I'm calling out their name and saying they're the best that I faced my entire career, that's on a whole nother level. We all were great players out there, but those dudes who were they were different, and those two guys were different. Now you could have your reasons not to, but I'd love to hear the explanation on why they're not in at some point.
Yeah, it's interesting that Leon Searcy, who was also on our show, made a point today that Fred Taylor was not a game breaker; he was a game wrecker.
Yeah,
he was literally a game wrecker. Like you get him, it's 3rd and 2, he gets the ball, he finds a crease, forget it, it's over.
Yeah, he had power, speed, could catch, block. There was nothing that part of his game you could say, well, he wasn't good on, 3rd down. They had to take him out. No, he was out there catching the ball, breaking, and then his speed was, oh my, in the open field, it was untouchable. Once he got there, it was over. It was over. So, yeah. So I'll move on. Speaking of bad fits, you guys had Urban Meyer, but, man, what do you think about this on the college level? Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher. Do you think this is a match made in heaven or is more a match made of doom?
Let me just answer it this way. Aggies interim coach, Bob Petrino. That's all.
Oh, my
God. There's honestly, I don't even know what Jimbo Fisher's even thinking.
He
literally have two of the biggest egos in college football. Yeah. Jimbo has willingly asked a guy who has wrecked is a good word, wrecked programs and franchises to come into his situation and call plays and run his offense. I can't even imagine why you wouldn't just take the hot young offensive coordinator from wherever, anyone else than a guy who has a history of Bob Petrino's history. He's a great play caller. He's a great offensive mind. I'm not saying he's not. All I'm saying is there's a lot of bad history, and I'm a big guy and believer in track history. There's a big and bad history of him wrecking things. And a perfect example literally happened a month earlier. He left Missouri State, where he was head coach, to be the offensive coordinator for Barry Odom at UNLV. Barry Odom gets the UNLV job. He needs an offensive coordinator. He decides he's going to hire Bob Petrino, give him another shot. Petrino's fired up about it. They do a big deal about it. Here's Bob Petrino, the new UNLV offensive coordinator, and less than a month later, Petrino just walks out. Just like he walked out on the Falcons, just like he walked out on Louisville. Why don't people see this? I don't understand it. It's bizarre to me.
Well, I guess I'll let Mickey ask you about TCU and Georgia, but one more I have to ask you, and that is no tailgating at the national championship at SoFi Stadium. Is this a rule or what's going on with that?
They're not doing it. Blaine. They're not tailgating. I don't know what. I don't know if it's because of climate concerns or whatever, but they're not doing it, man. You don't know what's going on out there, man. We have no idea what's going on out there. But they're not doing it. There's no tailgating.
Yeah, Matt Hayes with climate control there out there in L.A.
Yeah. No college football championship should be held outside of the South. This just clinches that, I would think, forever. Right. Matt covers the Jags. He covers college football as well for Saturday down south. All right, on the way out, there'll be no tailgating at the game, but how do you think the game goes between TCU and Georgia?
Yeah, I would love to see TCU win. And not because I got anything against Georgia. I think it would be great to see TCU win because you're talking about a program, guys. TCU shares its weight room with all the other sports. TCU does not have this huge amount of money in NIL or anything like that. They're just a team that got hot. Yeah. And then a team that got up against a Michigan team that kind of made some mistakes and fumbled around and didn't get serious until the second half, until it was too late. And I think Georgia's going to win, and I think it'll probably be really comfortable. But if Duggan can get outside and do some stuff with his legs like he's done all year, and if they can get a stop or two or a turnover or two, look, they got 2 pick sixes against Michigan. You're not going to get that against Georgia. But if they could get one, or if they could get a couple short fields from turnovers, yeah, I think they could win the game. I don't think they are, but I think it would be great for college football, knowing we're 2 years away from the playoff going to 12 teams, or who knows, man, maybe 16. Who the hell knows what they're going to do? But it would be great if we're this close to expanding the playoff and TCU goes in there and wins it. It would be phenomenal for college football.
Well, Matt, thank you for the time today, man. We know you got a lot going on. People can read all your latest at Saturday Down South, and they can check you and your colleagues out, 1010 XL Radio in Jacksonville. Just a great crew of folks down there doing radio covering the Jags. We appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Sure, man. Anytime. Love being on with you guys.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it, man.
One and only Matt Hayes. All right, when we come back, play a little game of how it started, how it's going, Titan style. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. So what's the old social media thing, how it started, how it's going? I was doing some digging in the break, and I found Titans Wire, an article where they had published the depth chart. Remember that unofficial depth chart that we all, well, some of us like me, kind of nerd out on when it comes out at the beginning of the season. Like, oh my gosh, it's an unofficial depth chart, which Blaine always responds, why is this unofficial? It came from the team.
Right.
It's their depth chart. It's official.
Because it's not the season starting, right?
So, but this would have been the training camp depth chart, but this was before week 1, I guess, is when it was released, because Dylan Radins is a guard on here. So Mike Vrabel has said only Devontae Harris has been ruled out of the game on Sunday. They had a scare with the groin of Traylon Burks, but they're let him rest today, and apparently they're going to let him roll on Saturday night. So defensively, here's the opening week listed as starters on this depth chart. DeMarcus Walker, available, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tier Tart,
Mm-hmm.
Big Jeff. Okay, Bud Dupree, IR. Zach Cunningham, IR. But Danico Autry, Roger McCreary, Kevin Byard, Amani Hooker, Christian Fulton. So what is that? 9 of the original starters available to the defense on Saturday night against the Jaguars.
Yeah, only Dupree and Landry, right?
Only Dupree and Cunningham, because Landry was never listed.
Season, right? Okay.
So only David Long and Cunningham. Oh, it'd be David Long, Cunningham, and Dupree. Sorry, it's 8 of the 11 are available. David Long obviously was not activated this week. So 3 of those guys not available, but 8 of them are available. So on the offensive side, so that's 8 of the 11 original listed starters. Yeah, people are saying, and Long in the Zone TV chat. Thank you. I got an old mind here. Thank you for helping me. Offensively, NWI, available. Austin Hooper, available. Taylor Lewan, not available. Aaron Brewer, good. No Ben Jones. No Nate Davis. Looks like Nicholas Petit-Frere will go. Jeff Swaim. Robert Woods. No Ryan Tannehill. Derrick Henry is available. So 7 of the original starters available for Saturday night, 4 not available, including your quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. So what's that? 15 of 22 starters, if my extremely terrible rudimentary math skills available.
Yep, that's right. Mm-hmm. They are available.
Yeah. In some capacity or not, they are available.
Yeah, I would say the offense and the quarterback with Tannehill and now the Dobbs, probably the biggest in left tackle here with twice daily. Had to get it in until he shows that he's not twice. He's just daily.
Well, he was twice last week on false starts when fourth down when they tried to go for it.
Yeah, those are the things that really eat at coaches right there, because that's self-inflicted. Mm-hmm. That's you. That had nothing to do with anything else. You didn't concentrate on that play. It wasn't a missed block. Nope. It was you false started. And you put us in a bind and in a hole with 5 yards. So, boy, those are the ones. And it happens every now and then. But, man, it's kind of random like every other game that's happening. So whether it's him or someone else. It's, I don't know if it's because of the cadence of the quarterback. That could have been an issue because it's the first time, Dobbs is out there in the live action. But you're going over those things routinely in practice. But sometimes you get into a rhythm and you just, and you're focused on a guy you got to block, especially him. He's going against all these speed guys that's like, hey, I want a piece of him. I want a piece of him. He's seeing a different guy over there throughout games. So he wants to get up out of there. And so I get it, but you can't have unforced errors there on your own accord. Yeah. So yeah, that's oh man, come on.
Interesting at the inside linebacker spot. Monty Rice started the season on PUP, and Gibbons started the season not on the team. Both of those guys were started inside linebacker, and I mean they've been improving. And like we got to talking about a little bit yesterday, okay, guys are out. Somebody else step up. That's 2 cats who, like next year, you go into the season, you think these 2 guys are really going to help.
Yeah, and then you got Cole as well as. We have another young linebacker that we drafted. I know he's been.
They drafted Chance Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Yeah, you got a nice little portraits of linebackers there. So I don't think Cunningham will be back, at least not at that price. And, Long will be the big question on, how much do you give him? Then you may get him for a modest rate because of he's been injured here at the end.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your last play. Now, he played fairly well before that. He did exactly what I thought he would do. I'm not surprised at all. As I said a year or so ago, that he should have been out there before some other people.
You liked him from the beginning, though.
Yeah,
I remember when they drafted him, you're
did.
like, look, man, maybe he's a little shorter or he's a little whatever it is.
Yeah.
Look at this dude's resume because his resume is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it tells you he's a baller.
Yep.
You got to look, and that's where he went late in the draft because of his size. If he was 6'2", 230, and he was what kind of Big 12 defensive player of the year, he would have went in the top 3 rounds. Instead, he was the 5'11" guy that looks on the smaller side, looks like a safety probably to a lot of NFL scouts, and but he's making plays all over the place, and that's why he goes 6th round. And he comes in, he knows how to he knows the triangle read. Yeah. He's quick to the force, and he's what I call a baller. Mm-hmm. And you can put him out there against whoever, and he's gonna make it happen. And, he can't cover. No, well, he can actually cover. It's just now he's getting used to the game of the type of guys he's covering.
There's really, to me, there's one fault on him, and you know what it is. It's the only ability is his availability fault. He's played 14, 10, and this year 12 games.
Yeah.
So never played a full season.
And is that because of his size, or is it just because he had a fluke injuries? I don't know what those other injuries are, but this is a muscle tissue type deal. So it wasn't like, he dislocated his elbow, he needed a surgery on his knee. I don't think any of his injuries he required surgery. It was just, it happens now. Do you have to? It's kind of like the Lamar Jackson deal, just at a different position. Is it because of his size? Is that why he's having these injuries? And you got to know that he's only going to play probably 13 games a year, and then so that you use that in negotiations as well? Or do you just say we'll get another linebacker and we'll just let him ride out and see what the market says he should get, and then if we can match it, we will. So it's always kind of that way.
Yeah, went on IR with a hamstring injury he suffered in Philly. So hamstring, soft tissue got him.
Yeah, it's so wrong. 4 times daily.
Yeah. Nick says, is Kyle Phillips still on the milk carton? Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if he's a real person. I haven't seen him in so long.
Oh, my.
I did see him in the locker room after one of the recent games. That dude, shoulder banged up, but then his was soft tissue, hamstring.
Right. So if he doesn't dress, you think he should be in the locker room where the game is over?
No, I just hadn't seen him, but I passed him in the locker room and thought, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this guy in forever.
Yeah, he's there, he's around.
Yep.
He's rehabbing whatever the injury is.
Somebody did ask me the other day, is Jamarco Jones a real person, or did you guys make him up? Remember him? He was going to be a lineman that played some, and he's just Jamarco Jones. He's a real person. I saw him in training camp. Did he punch Lawan? Didn't he?
Where they got into like a little, I call it a slap, little bear match, with those linemen, man. Like, man, what you say, man? Yeah, man. Oh, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, that was no big deal, when those big bears get to, get upset and give each other a whack.
Just remember, kids, you can't punch anybody in football. They're wearing a helmet. You're just going to break your hand.
Yeah. So,
you're going to break your hand.
Especially if it's talking about your other teammates. So it's so much forces going on here. And it's not like you try to hit the other guy on the other side of the ball. So, he had he even dressed for any games?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he ever played a game.
Yep, he won't be back. He won't be a depth piece.
And he got some money. They'll save a couple $1 million.
He was supposed to be that inside guy. And it started right off in training camp. Whatever the injury was, he got hurt like halfway through, and it was over.
He was outside, and he went inside. Yeah.
He went inside the building. Okay,
yes,
I got you. I got a nice one.
All right, hour number 2 coming up. If you've been wondering about Damar Hamlin, there is some fantastic news. So come on back, and we'll give it to you. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Let's start. Hey, it's Thursday. It is about to be 2:04 by the time I finish the sentence.
Too old. I thought you were going to say you're too old.
I'm too old, but not too old to do the second hour of the show today, and not too old to bring you fantastic news. So, Damar Hamlin, report from ESPN, beginning to awaken, shows substantial improvement in his recovery. His doctors at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center spoke today. Now, people are saying he's still considered to be critically ill, but he's making significant progress. They're showing all kinds of neurological things that he's doing. He's moving his hands and feet. He held the hand of his family members. But there were two doctors who spoke from the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Lucas, do we have this? Including, now he can't speak verbally. They're still helping him breathe. He's got a breathing tube, but he's able to write things down. This is the update from his doctors in Cincinnati on Damar Hamlin.
He was able to communicate in writing, and he is unable to speak with us yet as he still has a breathing tube in, and we're still assisting him with ventilation. So when he was communicating with us last night and then again today, that's been in writing. And, to paraphrase one of our partners, when he asked, did we win? The answer is yes. Damar, you won. You've won the game of life. And that's probably the most important thing out of this. And we really need to keep him at the center of everything else that's going on. And we really want to ensure a good outcome for him.
So we've been waiting for the thumbs up. That dude wrote, did we win the game?
That's the first thing that came to his mind.
Yeah. Players are players, aren't they?
No
hey, man,
doubt.
did we win the game?
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. That's just awesome. Great news for all those out there who've been praying for him and everything else, the first responders and now the doctors here, man. What a fantastic day. As I said before, are the true heroes here in this whole situation, and the fight by Damar here to fighting and speak to us via writing, and seems to have full strength. So we just keep plugging away, and hopefully sooner than later, everything will be right where it needs to be.
Diana Rossini, I saw her retweet, and I'd have to it wasn't a national person. It was somebody who responded to her tweet. She said, gosh, what's a way you could honor like the people who saved his life? What's a way that you could do that? Because Blaine, you've said it multiple times in the show yesterday and today and the day before, first responders, God bless you.
Yeah,
thank you. Mm-hmm. And a guy responded and said, how about you introduce the first responders instead of the teams? Like the teams come out and they come out and run, and then the first responders get introduced. I thought that was incredible. You could hear their names, Well, how neat would that be?
Oh, that'd be pretty awesome, man. Yeah, that's special.
So
those are special people, though.
Oh my gosh.
And they need to get the recognition they deserve, man. It's a tough job.
Well, I mean, your wife works in the medical business, and Lucas's fiance works in the medical business. I mean, my wife used to work for a hospital in marketing, but still, I knew all the doctors and and those people. They just, we were talking about having to see what everybody saw on the field, and they're going to cancel the game, and them not having to go back to work. And a guy tweeted me who's a first responder, and he said, "Unfortunately for us, we will see people perish, and we just have to get back in the car and go to the next case."
Right,
the things they see.
Well, let's first start off. That's how they're trained.
Yep.
So those things happen all the time.
Yeah.
Where, a player. So that just shows you the different worlds that they are living in.
Yeah.
That's tough. Doctors who are doing surgery, first responders. I mean, all of that. But I get it. It's not like you ever get comfortable with that situation. So there's something I definitely couldn't do. So tip the cap to those guys and girls who do that, and they are, as I said, our true heroes here. Man, wow. That's pretty awesome.
There's good Titans news. Let's make this first segment only good news. So Damar Hamlin is communicating and is showing signs of improvement, great signs of improvement. Jim Wyatt and others on the Titans beat reporting after practice. Only one Titan has been ruled out for the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that is cornerback Devontae Harris, which I would imagine a lot of people couldn't point him out. And I'm not diminishing him, but I'm saying he's the only guy that's been ruled out. He was a more recent addition to the team. This is Jim White, Mike Vrabel. We think Traylon Burks will be okay. We held him out today. Had a groin injury in practice yesterday, and this news didn't come out until after practice because you and me saw, okay, here's who practiced and who didn't. And as we leave, the more detailed practice reports come out, that
Yeah, I'm
Traylon
sitting on
Burks.
my couch. I was texting you like, what happened to
What in
Burks?
the world?
Oh, I was in panic mode. Like, man, he's the key to all the passing game, whether he's impacting it with his numbers or not. Him being on the field is huge. So, man.
I just wonder, there was video, and again, Jim Wyatt had the video, I believe. It was of him running down the field Tuesday practicing, and I literally thought to myself, like, gosh, look at Burks, man. He looks good. And then the next day he tweaked his groin in practice. And all I could think of is, what in the world were they doing out there the last week of the season ahead of this biggest game of the season, that dude, that his soft tissue could be affected like that. And I know anything could set it off, but I just thought, dang, man, that's unlucky.
Yeah, well, he's had some unlucky situations already going on this season, and all of them are justified. But this one here, just another soft tissue deal. I'm just thinking, man, was he warmed up, or when did this happen in practice? Like, was he going too hard at this point? You just never know. Maybe it's best that he did it, at practice and not in the game, and now he'll be much more prepared to withstand, something that if it happened in a game. So I don't know, man. At this point in time, during the season, they talking about walkthrough. Practice was a jog through for me at this point in time. I was making sure I understood my assignments and where we're going, but we had a veteran team. We weren't a young team. So when I was in my younger years, I probably was going really hard too as well. So I get it, especially rookie year. Yeah, you feel like you can go for days and that you're invincible and that, you're not ever trying to protect, oh, man, I may have a soft tissue injury. Oh, man. Whew. So they haven't had a lot of soft tissue injuries this season, have they? Just here recently with Long and now this issue, I can't recall.
Phillips was a shoulder, but then later a hamstring.
But
I
it
think
led
is
to a
what
hamstring.
landed him there.
Yeah, the soft tissue used to irritate me. I'm not even gonna lie.
Molden's was tissue, right?
I think he must have tore his groin and had surgery on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to put that in.
I mean, I know you got Lawan, who's knee ligaments, and you got Farley, who's back and knee ligaments,
Right.
and things like that. But
No, so the soft tissue. There's a lot of. I'm wondering where the research has gone since my day. So, sometimes it's about hydration. What are you hydrating with, and what are you not hydrating with? Those are always issues. And sometimes it was some guys are taking too much creatine, just doing a scoop and then too much in the scoop. And then all of a sudden that can lock you up and you start having tissue issues, playing. So you got to make sure you are modest on what you're doing with that. There was some who saying, hey, man, on your day off or on the weekends, maybe you having too many, nice drinks there, brews or whatever it may be, that can dehydrate you, and that can cause you then to have, a lot of soft tissue injuries. So they educate us on all these different things. Now, whether you doing them or not is a whole nother story. And that's why you have to go through these things as a young player, and you learn how to navigate through all of that so that you are peaking and performing at the highest level on game day. And I'm sure there's a lot more now today than in my day. So I'm sure there's a lot more studies into that.
people weighing in, Jen and Carlos, one after the other in the Zone TV chat. Fulton has a groin issue. So Fulton,
Fulton, that's right. He got run over, and that causes groin. He got run over by A.J. Brown. That causes a groin injury. And people, what's funny? People thought he wasn't hurt, like he was hurt because his feelings got hurt because he got run over. I was immediately like, no. He grabbed in his area.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, he can't be. It didn't like he stepped on him or something. No, he ran through him.
That was hard to watch. Him laying there and AJ just jogging down the field, waving. It hurts. Like, hey, man, go ahead and just throw it to me. Let me moonwalk in.
I told you I could have done this at practice every day. I just didn't.
Yep.
I was looking forward to it because, going against somebody in practice is totally different than an actual game. And so there's always a part of you like, when I get in the game, man, that guy wouldn't have gone that. He wouldn't have caught that. He wouldn't have done this, especially when you go ones versus ones. And, boy, did he show him that he was definitely worth every bit of that $25 million he got. And I am that dude. What's the word they use now? I am him. That's what he said. I am him. Yeah, that's what Lucas says every day. I am him.
What the kids are saying.
We are them. And we will be right back. We got to take a break. We'll come back. People are calling in. Blake wants to ask a question about people on IR. Brandon has a thought about athletic trainers. And Nick has a question about this on the Zone TV chat. A question for Blaine that I will ask Blaine. And also, Lucas wants to give you guys more Predators tickets. So if you want Predators tickets and you want to know what this question is and you want to know everything, we'll just come back and we'll tell you everything. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. You like this song?
What is it?
It says it in front of you. It's Surrender by Cash Cash.
Surrender by Cash Cash. You knew that, right, though? This is one of your all-time favorites.
Yeah, right.
You were telling me the other day, man, I jam a lot of Cash Cash.
Yeah, this is your ringtone.
It's clean.
People still have ringtones?
The only Cash I know is Johnny Cash. I don't know Cash Cash. Are these some of his relatives? Making
straight
some
cash, homie.
Maybe they're making some
Cash
straight
deal,
cash,
man.
homie, with that snappy little tune that Lucas
was
just
nice
played.
and clean, though. It was clean, man.
I'll get to this. Okay, let's get Blake's question, and then I will ask you Nick's question. Phone line's open, 615-737-1045. Let's get to Blake is calling from Florida right now. You're not calling from Jacksonville, are you?
Uh-oh.
No, we're a little bit further south than Jacksonville.
Anywhere
if you
near?
put a pin right in the middle of Florida, that's kind of where I'm hiding.
Oh,
That's where
okay.
you hiding. That's a good
Something,
spot.
something like that, yeah.
Well, yeah, nice and warm down there. I'd switch places.
You know what? Yesterday was 86 degrees, and it got up to 83 before this cold front just came through and knocked us below 70.
How are you going to make it?
Wait, yeah, you set me up there. I just went down to what, 50? 70.
Yeah. I got all these dead plants outside my house right now from, 3 days of 0 degrees. But you try to get on through that 60-something degrees there, Blake. Thoughts and prayers, man.
Yeah.
Look, I appreciate that.
Rough
If y'all got any warm thoughts, please send them my way.
Thoughts. Oh, my.
All right, what you got, man? What's going on?
Well, I'm glad y'all mentioned the Hamlin thing. That's the first I've heard about it, and I just want to put it out there right now. The Bills just won the Super Bowl. You can't imagine how fired up this team's going to be to hear his first question was, did we win the game?
Yeah.
You want to talk about wanting to run through a wall? Oh, my goodness. Look, I spent 10 years in the Army, and when my soldiers became back conscious and said some dumb stuff like that, I felt like running through the field naked, man. So, I mean, what this is going to do for that team and that locker room is just going to be absolutely bananas.
Great point. No,
But I kind of wanted to touch on some things I heard about IR. Not last week, but the week that Willis played. Taylor Lewan had put something out there on social media how he wasn't on the sidelines for that game. And it completely blew my mind, especially his status on the team and all these other things. And I called him out on social media for it. And at that point, they educated me, telling me that the IR players aren't allowed on the sidelines. And I'm curious on when this became a rule, because I remember seeing Derrick Henry on the sidelines last year. And I don't know if this is a situation where players have become a distraction to where they can't be on the sideline, or is this what this young group is needing to have brought back to hopefully try to coach up and make better? I mean, we've seen how this unit's performed without Lewan in it. And, I mean, I'm sure this guy would at least have some good insight on, what to do when you see this type of pass rush coming to you. But there seems to be some sort of disconnect now for some reason. But if you guys wouldn't mind keeping me on the radio, I would love to hear y'all's response. It takes a minute to get back to the app to be able to hear you guys, and normally I'm cut off on the conversation at that point.
I'll just put you back on hold, Blake. You keep on listening, man. Stay warm down there in sunny Florida, all right? Also appreciate your service for sure. Thank you for that.
You know about the IR? Well, Henry was on IR last year, and I don't think he was on the sidelines every game. It was about when he was healthy. I think a lot of the guys go upstairs and they have him in a suite or booth up top. I think and I saw Lewan was at the LA game when they played out west against the
And
Chargers.
Vrabel got asked about that. He said, somebody asked him, why were Lewan and Landry? And he said, they got a free ride to see their doctor out here.
Right.
So they flew with the team, and they have a physician, I guess, out there that saw him. Yeah. But IR guys.
Because IR means now it's different than when I played. IR meant you were out for the season. Now you can kind of come back. I know these guys are out for the season, but you can come back and forth. So maybe it depends on if you're out for the season or not. Depending, because then it's possibly you got to stay in the routine of going to the meetings, going to the games. If you're going to be out just 4 games, then you're back up. Let's say if you have a scope on your knee or something, and then you'll be back up. So, yeah, I agree with the caller, though. He could help in some facet, but he's not in the meetings, so you kind of get disconnected when you're on IR for the season. And you're just in the training room and you're just eating with the guys, but you're not in the everyday meeting every day because you're done for the season. But he could bring some knowledge. Could start his coaching career. I know a lot of people keep talking about like they should bring Lawan back. I don't understand the scenario of why that's become a thing. It's not at the price that he's at, but there is no price to me to bring him back after 2 seasons of ACL, except for minimum salary. And I say that in that if he ends up being like, I want to still play, you want to finish your career with the Titans, you can be minimum salary with some incentives, and he can be that rotational left-right backup guy. You cannot go into a season with a guy's missing 2 years. You can kind of name a guy, I can't recall a guy, especially in Titans history, that is missed big portions of 2 seasons, and then all of a sudden they were still on the team. Like, that doesn't happen unless he comes back in a reduced role.
Right.
I don't see or envision any of that unless he's playing for minimal salary with some incentives to prove that he can play. I don't even know if he had surgery or not. Nobody. Maybe I missed it though. Lucas, did you see? Did he have surgery again, or Lawan, or did he just tweak his knee and just needs to rehab some more or something?
No, I believe he had
surgery.
He had knee surgery in LA.
He had talked about it.
He had ACL surgery. Okay. Well, I know they were talking, how bad it was, or was it corrected. The surgery correct when he got it, and was it, crooked and all these other things. So I wasn't sure. He was walking pretty good when he was at the Chargers game. He looked pretty like he didn't even have surgery.
Yeah.
I didn't see any gimp in him at all. No limp or bent knee or anything. So
he last played 16 games. Josh Dobbs' rookie season, 2017.
Yeah. So I've been saying that from ever since he got suspended.
Then 15, then 12, then 5, then 13 last year, and he played parts of 2 games this year.
Yeah. So in my mind, it was when he got the PED suspension. He really hasn't been healthy since then. So it's been a pattern. I keep hearing people act like they're gonna bring him back for, let's say, half the price he was making. I mean, what world are they in? Like, desperate, and I get it, because you're looking at Twice Daily, you go, oh, Lawan's better than him. Even, if he's not as good as he was, he's still better. And that's true. But does he want to come back and play off of those 2 ACL surgeries? And where will he be? And will you be going through this same issue of, can he get up and be healthy week in and week out? I wouldn't take that risk if I'm the GM. So, no, time's up. You can come back at a minimum of whatever league minimum is for a veteran.
Probably about $1 million.
1.2, yeah. And we'll put some incentives in there. We respect, and maybe you can hold the 40, and then you can make up to maybe 5, 6, 7 million if you are actually the starter. But I still wouldn't be dependent. I would think he would be a rotational guy that can be a backup at either side. There is some value in that, especially on the Titans, and we've seen those guys that can hold the fort for 2 or 3 weeks. If somebody gets nicked up, that's the starter. And to me, that's what his role should be at this point in his career. Had a fabulous career, great player, just like all the rest of the great, blindside tackles they've had throughout the time we've been here in Tennessee. From B-Hop to Ruse to you name them. They've had a slew of them.
Yeah, and he stepped in after Ruse left. They tempered it so he was just the next guy up. They had done a good job over the years of finding the next guy there. Nick,
so you're talking about availability. Well, there's no availability. You just went through it since 2017.
He's played 20 games in the last 3 years, Blaine. There's 17 games in a season now. He's played 20 in the last 3 years. I mean, he's just been really beat up. Nick asked you, Blaine, if you saw a bunch of teammates going down with soft tissue injuries for 2 straight years, would you question the strength and conditioning personnel?
No, I'd question them, to be honest.
Soft tissue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, hey, man, you hanging out a little too much? On Tuesday on your day off, man, you watching the game somewhere? Having some drinks? Getting dehydrated?
Well, and people wonder why.
I always would go to the player first.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you are in control of your own body. At some point, the responsibility is on you. Sorry, you're in a business of running. So you need to be running and putting in your body what helps you run and keep you running. So for me personally, that's just kind of how I was. And that's, and I'm old school, and that's how most of our players were. It was always young guys that come in their rookie year and they're happy to be in the league, and I get in there out partying to the tardy, and and that can cause issues from rest to hydration and all those things and what you're putting in your body. So you just try to, educate them a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with having some fun. That's all cool, but to a limit, and then keep it moving. So, yeah, sometimes you just have fluke accidents with somebody tear their hamstring off the bone. I mean, like, oh, that's super serious. I'm not talking about, my hammy is tight. I may have to miss a game or two because I can't, run. I'm only 70%. That's different than if you're actually seriously hit, injured. So some of these guys have it. I guess we could say Phillips is in that category, and I guess people brought up Fulton and then Molden. But, that's probably what I would do. More so than the strength and conditioning coach is not with you 24/7. So I don't know what the strength and conditioning coach can do for a hamstring. The strength and conditioning is for strength and conditioning. So you're lifting weights and you're running. That's what it is. So maybe you're not stretching enough. Maybe you're stretching too much. I don't know. I mean, you got to figure it out. How you can, because if you're not available, guess what? The NFL, there's a whole slew of new dudes coming in every year. So if you keep this up, you won't be here.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. It's never going to go, oh, it's the strength and conditioning coach. Strength and conditioning coach has nothing to do with, people having sprained MCLs. And I get it. You want answers. You want to point the finger and say it's their fault. No, ultimately, it goes right back to the player, whatever the injury is. But the soft tissue is definitely, to me, some are freak accidents, but most of it has to go on how you're hydrating your body. Getting warm, know how to stay warm, keep it moving. Like, you had to even learn coming out of halftime to warm back up. A lot of guys were just, I'm not going to use the term lazy, but just wouldn't go through the full gamut of the warm-up like you did at the beginning of a game. Mm-hmm. Got to go through that whole process again. You should have a routine because you don't want to have something like that happen.
Mac is calling from Jacksonville, and he has a question about Derrick Henry. Maybe Mac works for the Jags. I don't know. He can tell us because he's on the
help us out. We want some cheat sheets.
Real estate hotline right now. Mac, what's going on, man?
Hey, Blaine, being an ex-Titan, I enjoy your show. You call Jacksonville from time to time. Shout out to my mom in Cookville and my baby brother at Mount Juliet.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, here's my thing. That logo makes me worried. Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry is not going down without a fight. Those are my comments.
Okay.
Well, all right, Mac. Thank you, man.
Well, I mean, besides them, I think the rest of the Titans too as well. Yeah, there's no doubt, and they're leading the fort, no question. But Henry's going to be a little fired up, going back home, and they got him last time with the caused fumble. So he's going to be a little juiced, and I think sooner than later, so right off the bat. So, yeah, they're going to give him the ball. You know what I would love to see? Man, I'm giving away the game plan. I would love to see that first play when everybody's juiced up. They already got on that. What did he say they're going to have on teal? Yeah, everybody got their
tealed out to town.
Everybody out to town. They're going to teal out the stadium. They're going to be rocking. They're going to be, and they fake pumped it for Henry and pull it out and go downtown. That's when you do that on the road. Quiet the crowd. Hush. You start doing the pump it down. Yeah, we got this. Yep. Mm-hmm. And Dobbs is a perfect person to do that too, man. Because the calm demeanor about him and the calm, cool customer, nothing can rattle me. I've been and done this before. This is nothing. So, yeah, that's kind of how I would play it.
We'll give away some Preds tickets at the end of the segment. We have a doctor who called in, Lucas?
A doctor?
Dr. Shea.
Dr. Shea, give us some tips on the hammy.
Dr. Shea has called in. Doc, welcome in. What kind of doctor are you?
I am a chiropractor.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, I do. I still do chiropractor today.
Yeah, Blaine and me could probably use some help.
Yeah. Every Friday.
What you got, Dr. Shea?
Yeah, I did play for Coach Watterson, by the way, on the chat.
Yes, I'm a chiropractor here in Nashville.
Yes.
So y'all were just discussing how the trend of injuries are happening over the last 2 years, especially with soft tissue injury. Mm-hmm. Miraculously enough, this is my study. My practice is called the Recovery Studio in Berry Hill, and this is what we kind of educate on with all of our athletes is, yes, it is on your job to, and I completely respect what was said, it's your job to take care of your body when you're off the field and things like that. But I would say it is a very large portion of the strength and conditioning coach to know the knowledge to pass down to their players on when you need to rest, what devices are around you, and what healing mechanisms there are, because you're putting a lot of load on these soft tissues, and the research is coming out every single year on tendon and soft tissue health. I think a change in the program would probably be necessary if you're seeing a trend over 2 years over different types of players, different types of positions. There would be something to be re-engineered in the training program, is my belief, because even though it is up to the player to do all the things that when they're not in the locker room or they're not in the weight room, they have to be given the right education on when to load the muscle, how much to be loading the muscle, and re-exams with a practitioner on a regular basis.
Yeah, they have chiropractors in the facility. They come twice a week. That's what I'm saying. All the education is there. There's nothing they're missing. I got adjusted sometimes twice a week. So yeah, so yeah, and by the way, the Titans don't have a lot of soft tissue injuries this season, at least in my eyes. I mean, when you're talking about less than 5 guys over the whole entire season, I don't really think that's an issue. But yeah, Roger, I don't know what you're talking about. I definitely did play for Watterson.
Are you talking to somebody on the
Roger was on the
TV
chat.
chat?
Yeah, definitely did. He was the best in the business, and that's why we didn't have a lot of that. But the caller is right on educating the players. But you understand, some of these guys aren't listening. That's the whole issue. So yeah, you need to educate yourself, and you got to listen. You can listen, but are you doing? And ultimately, you need to be a pro's pro, and your body is your temple, and you must take care of it, guys. Guess why? Your body is taking care of you. And I'm talking about all the way from head to toe. Dude, I never got my feet done. I did my feet every week. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Sitting right up in there, right next to all the ladies. Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan got manicures and pedicures. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And people like, when I first got there, I was like, you doing what? Oh, man, nah, man, I need my feet massaged. They hit some certain trigger points in your feet that release a lot of toxins in your body. I'm like, whoa, let me try that. As much as I was against all of that, I'm like, guess what? I'm going to try that. Mm-hmm, yeah. There you
Put
have
me
it.
down for a foot massage.
It wasn't nothing that I didn't try.
I believe
Trust
it.
me.
Alex in Nashville has tried to call us about Taylor Lewan and succeeded. Hello, Alex.
I just need a little help. I was watching the bowl game or the football game between Ohio State and Michigan, and Taylor was on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it came time for that last little bit of action, and they said, "Oh, we got to be down the field," and they took off running.
Yeah.
And they showed him on the sidelines running.
Mm-hmm.
If he's hurt, how is he doing that?
Well, there's different levels of hurt. Let's start there. And I'm going to say this. I didn't see this, so I could say he was jogging, and I don't know about running. But, playing in an NFL game and jogging and to the inside is, I think, a little two different things. And I get it, because I just said that he was walking looking like there was nothing wrong with him, and now I'm sure someone saw him jogging saying, well, he looks pretty healthy. Well, that's one thing, and then have another 300-pound guy pushing you in the opposite direction. It's two totally different things. So I get it, but yeah, looks aren't always what they seem. I'm sitting in this chair right now. My back is killing me, but I look like I'm having a great time, right? See? So looks can be deceptive.
All right, we've got Predators tickets to give away. We can give those. You want to do it now, or you want to do it when we come back, Lucas? All right, Lucas says we'll do it when we come back. Also, I've been saving this. I got all these numbers that I've been holding on to all week, but I've been saving this one for Thursday, and here's what it is. The Titans are guaranteed to win if they just do this. The numbers back it up. I'll share it next.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this
Guaranteed
number.
win. Your back will feel better.
Oh, okay.
Mickey 104.5 The Zone. If you've been watching for these Predators tickets, here you go. Smashville calling all University of Kentucky fan students and alumni. It's University of Kentucky night at the Preds game on January, he said, 17th. Caller 5 now. Your chance to win tickets to see the Preds host the Blue Jackets January 17th at Bridgestone Arena, 615-737-1045. That'll get you there. Represent the Wildcats at the Preds game January 17th. You can buy, if you don't win them, you can buy a special college night ticket. You get a co-branded hat with your special ticket purchase. Experience Smashville this month. Visit NationalPredators.com/tickets and do not miss out on all the latest Preds promotions. And they've been scoring a bunch of goals lately. Been watching some of these games. All right. You can win them now. Lucas is answering the phones. All right. Guaranteed win for the Titans.
Yes, please give me the answer to the guarantee.
So I always, sometimes, as you know me, I don't sleep very much. So when I'm up late, also my favorite website is this Pro Football Reference.
Oh, I thought you was about to go a different direction.
No, no, I'm pretty boring. Not anything risque or anything. It's literally just all stats. That's kind of where I am in my life.
Yeah, okay.
So I like the stat website. So I start running this thing, and you can, they should pay me as many times as I reference them. They do not. But you can sort of take this thing, and you can take any data that they have, and you can sort it any number of ways. Pro Football Reference. They have college football reference and basketball and any sport. But I probably spend more time on there looking at NFL numbers. I spend, I don't know, a certain amount of time there every day. But when I can't sleep, I'll really start rabbiting. Like some people are like, oh, I went to Netflix and I watched, half a series about something. No, I just went to Pro Football Reference and I sorted numbers.
Oh, man, I need to start doing that then instead of watching those stuff on.
I get so excited.
Instead of watching Yellowstone.
I get so excited, though, when I'm doing it. Then I can't sleep even more.
Oh.
Maybe I should watch TV so it would bore me to sleep. So I ran all these different numbers. I'm kind of saving some. Wanted to save some for Friday. I got all these different numbers, like when the team does this and the Jags do this, and I got all kinds of stuff. I want to save some for tomorrow.
So you teasing us today?
No, I'm gonna give you one.
Okay.
I'm gonna save the rest. Right. It's a tease, like 24-hour tease, 23 hours. So if you want all these ways the Titans can win, I'm gonna tell you all of them tomorrow except for this one.
Okay.
The Titans in Derrick Henry's career are 6-0 versus the Jags when one thing happens.
He runs over 100 yards.
No, it's not that. I ran that one.
When he scores 2 touchdowns.
Nope.
Oh,
I ran all the numbers I could find. Here's the best, highest number of when this happens, they don't lose. I got 6.
Henry does this.
Or it'd be when he does this many times. How about that?
Oh, get a run over 40 yards.
Nope. Although that probably helps. When he has 18-plus carries, that's the magic number. When he doesn't, when he has 17 or less, they're 3-3 against the Jags. He didn't get, what did he have last time? 17, I think. Had 17 the last time they played the Jags.
17 for 112?
Well, he had 96 rushing yards at the end of the first quarter. He had 119 at halftime. He finished with 121.
Okay.
That was the last time for Derrick Henry. 6-0 when he gets 18-plus carries. So I would say this. Unless the Jags score immediately like 21 points within the first 5 minutes of the game, because they score and then the Titans throw a pick six and they score and then, the Titans punt to them and then they immediately score. Barring them getting down by 3 scores really early, well, we've seen them be down 3 scores in the second half and still handing the ball to Derrick Henry with 2 or 3 tight ends on the field. But I don't know if there's any way on the earth in this year, 2023 now, that everybody knows when he gets off the bus, he's not going to get the ball 18-plus times on the ground, right? With the backup to the backup, I mean, Josh Dobbs technically, they had Logan Woodside. He's gone now, but he's technically the 4th quarterback they've had this year, and he's starting. 18-plus carries, 6-0. I know stats are for losers and all, but I do find that interesting.
No,
because if you start looking at anybody's time of possession, and I looked at the Titans and I looked at the Jags, both of them, their chance to win significantly goes down if their time of possession goes down. I mean, like, significant, because I thought, boy, if the Jags, if they don't have it 28 minutes or more, I think they've won one game maybe when they didn't. Then I looked for the Titans, and it's real similar. If they don't possess the ball, that means terrible things have happened, and Derrick Henry's not having.
I'll be watching 18 carries or more. That means he has to be really. What is his average when they have those wins as far as rushing yards? And 18 plus carries, so I'm sure he's getting more carries with the more yards. But is he averaging like 109 per game? Because usually he owns them.
He's had three 200-plus yards a games against the Jags.
They kind of like the Texans. So that's where the fear factor coming in, and I'm afraid that they are no longer scared of the King. After the last time they beat the Titans here at home after that hit.
I was going to say that he got it.
Oh, and I found out, I forgot the guy's name that hit him, but that guy that hit him is from Jacksonville as well.
Oh, he might have remembered some high school stuff. Like, I remember this big guy hitting me in high school.
Well, I think he's a little bit younger. I don't know if they're in the same generation, but that's what the guy said from Jacksonville.
So this is interesting. One of his 17 carry games is when he went for 238 against them.
Woo!
Another one of his 17 carry games, they won the 238. They lost this one. He was 17 for 121. That was the last time they played him.
Oh, 17.
So his 18 carry games, this is what's nuts, because I thought, you're asking me about the yardage, and this is interesting. It wasn't even so much for the yards. It was just the Jags didn't have the ball. So he ran 29 for 130. They won. He ran 28 for 51 in a game, and they won 15-10. That was in 2017. Mm-hmm. He went 26 for 215 in a rout in 2020.
That's what's so amazing about Derrick Henry, man. These high school stats in the NFL, man.
He went 25 for 84 in a game that they won. He went 19 for 159 in a game that they won. And they beat them in 2018 9-6, and maybe you wanted to gouge your eyes out watching that game. He was 18 for 57 in that game, about 3.1 yards a pop. So not all these games were his big games.
Okay,
he had a
so 200. The 18 is the time of possession. They're controlling the clock, controlling the trenches. It's about the carries.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well.
So, and even I got to 18. He's had 3 times he's carried the ball 17 against the Jags, and they've lost 2 out of those 3. And he went for 121 in a loss the last game and 238 in a time that they actually lost the game.
230. What?
That was in 2018.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, no, sorry. They won that one.
Okay.
He was 17 for 44, and they lost a game in 2019.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So 17 for 44. They completely shut him down. Well, they want him to go 17 for 44 in the next game. If you're a defender for the Jags or anybody, and it's the backup to the backup to the backup quarterback, and I know we like some of what good things that we saw from Dobbs.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're the Jags, on every play, every play.
They got to go get him. That's why I play action pass first play. Go downtown. I'm going for all the marbles.
Like downtown?
Yeah, I am. It's like, Dr. J's reunion dunk. I'm going downtown for the Rock My Baby dunk. Yep. So it's on TV, by the way. That's why I said that. They showing all his highlights. And I was a big Dr. J fan growing up. Ooh, I love when him and Charles was on the same team. That was craziness there.
That was worlds colliding right there. ESPN's just showing all this Dr. J footage, and they're interviewing the current version of Dr. J.
Man, he looks good, man. How old is that dude? He looked great. He looked like he's Lucas's age.
I bet he could still dunk on Lucas.
Ooh. You think he could still dunk? I would put money that he can. I bet he can.
He's 72.
Yeah, I bet he can. Yeah, it does.
He's 6'7". So what is his reach?
Mm-hmm. Don't know how long his arms are.
If you're 6'7", 7'7", 8'7". His reach would have to be to around 9 feet. So he's probably got a foot's worth of jump to hop to get up there and get it. When the Titans played the Jags last time, and this is, again, we got tomorrow to just go wall to wall talking about this. Titans had 4 turnovers because Derrick Henry ran 17 for 121. 4 turnovers for the Titans. They forced 0. The Jags scored 20 points off the Titans' turnovers. And if you watch the first quarter of that game, they ran it down their throat. Derrick Henry had 96 yards rushing in the first quarter of the game. If somebody told you that, you'd say, well, did the Titans win 24-10 or something? No, they lost. The Titans they scored 24 points, I think, twice this year. 124 one time and 27 one time. I mean, my biggest fear about the game, the Jags have been a very prolific offense. I think we're going a little bit longer today, right, Lucas? A little bit longer than normal.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, guys, for telling
Blake
me.
was kind of like, I'm looking at the clock here. Where's the music that plays?
More than what's going on. Thanks for keeping me informed, guys.
I think he said it just real low. I thought I just barely caught it. Oh, there you go. Now he's playing the music.
Yeah. Well,
but,
I had a comment on the strength and conditioning. What I always say is the players are responsible, talking about the soft tissue, because you have to do more than what's required. They are going to give you all the information. It's what you do with the information. And you have to do more than, I'll get there at 8 and then I leave at 5:30 and then time is up. I'm no longer taking care of my body.
Remember Vrabel talked about this. He brought it up.
Yeah,
guys being 8-5ers.
Yeah, you got to do more than what's required. We do more than what's required to do this show. So in the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.